What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gooner Channel Arsenal January Transfer Window News Show, which is a forensic look at all of the players Arsenal are supposed to be signing and selling in the January transfer window. There's been no shortage of players we've been linked with. Even before the start of the window, with us going through a really tough patch in front of goal, all of the talk was about how we needed a deadly and lethal finisher. It seems like we were linked with every striker playing in Europe. In the last week, though, attention shifted towards defence and midfield. And for most of this week, the speculation has been that we are seriously interested in signing Amadou Onana from Everton. Of course, Everton could probably do with the money at the moment. And we are slightly weak in the midfield, so it makes a bit of sense. But that one seems to be dissipating as well. And yesterday had quietened down a little bit, and two news stories popped up I was really interested in. I covered one yesterday in my video, Borja Mayoral, the Getafe top scorer, who was a product of the Real Madrid Youth Academy. Please do check that video out. It's got some fantastic clips of him playing. One that really stood out for me was him and Martin Odegaard. Odegaard playing brilliantly in midfield, releasing him to score. And it made me think watching that, is there something in the relationship between these two players that would help him settle in? But it also reminded me, one of the criticisms about Mayoral is that he didn't make it at Real Madrid and he hasn't really set the world on fire until this season at Getafe, where he's on 12 from 18 starts. I think he's a good player. I'm not necessarily saying I think we're going to sign him, but the criticism against him is that he didn't really make it at Real Madrid. And I think when you watch that clip of him and Odegaard playing together, you're reminded of another player who was surplus to requirements at Real Madrid but did really well. And of course, there's Ozil as well. So I think what we're looking at in this transfer window is probably not going out and signing a player who's doing really well somewhere. It's probably one that isn't quite fitting in. Like Bergkamp wasn't quite doing it into Milan, came to Arsenal and became a legend. I think this transfer window, if we are looking to the likes of Ivan Toney, Victor Osimhen and Mbappe, of course, it's not going to happen. Arteta has said as much. It's very difficult to sign a striker, and I don't think any of us want another Luca Perez on our hands. But the two stories that stood out for me yesterday, one obviously I covered, the other I didn't, but it had the better headline of the two, definitely, and it really caught my attention because it said Arsenal are interested in 6'4", 22-year-old striker who is better in every way than Erling Haaland, which certainly captured my imagination. And the player in question is 22-year-old Joshua Zirkzee, who is currently playing at Bologna. And I've got to say, he is nothing like Erling Haaland. Is he better in every way than Erling Haaland? Well, this idea actually comes from Football International reporter Solomon Öztürk, who was writing about Zirkzee last summer and said Zirkzee is better than Haaland at everything. He goes on to say, now you may be dismayed because of this statement, but I will frame it. Zirkzee has vision, technique, strength, charisma, flair, footballing ability. He is therefore better than Haaland in almost everything. Imagine if Zirkzee had the energy and focus of Haaland, then he would be the best striker in the world. Former Italy striker Marco Deval has worked with Zirkzee at Bologna and says he believes this season he has made the necessary next step. Deval was quoted by TMW this year, Joshua has made a good mental step and in every match he shows quality. Every day I ask him to continue scoring goals and to always show that attitude. Now, this is high praise. Could we be looking at a future star? He's not dissimilar, in fact, to Alexander Isak, who we are again being linked with, who is one that got away from us. So let's have a look at Joshua or Bosa Zirkzee, who is 22 years old, turns 23 in May. He joined Bayern Munich at the age of 16 and made 32 appearances for Bayern Munich 2. He played 12 times for the first team, the Bayern Munich first team, scoring 4 goals before being loaned to Parma, where he picked up an injury. The following season, he was loaned to Anderlecht, where he scored 16 goals in 38 appearances before making a permanent transfer to Bologna, where he's played 34 times and scored 9 goals. This season, he scored 7 of those. I really like him. He's a typically Dutch player, great technique, great running with the ball. And the goals he scores tends to be going round the keeper. It kind of reminds me of Nwankwo Kanu a little bit. I think having a player like him, he could play, I think, anywhere across the front three. And I could see him being repurposed as a midfielder. He is technically very good, but I don't know if he's the sort of player that would turn your season around, except I would love to see that kind of player on the bench that gives us something to terrorise defences with. His technique would make him an ideal player in the box, but again, this is not a box predator. This is a player who very much running with the ball from deeper positions. And I'd love to think there was something to this. The problem here is that Bologna are in no rush to sell him, and his transfer fee is being talked about in the region of 50 million euros, which again seems a little bit punchy. And I don't know if there's any rush to sign Zirkzee. Again, this isn't the sort of player I think would instantly transform a season. And I'd be worried that with all of the team out in Dubai, if you were going to sign someone, surely you'd want them to be there for that team bonding experience, almost that mini pre-season. The fact that nobody has gone out there with them, I think is highly suggestive of the fact that this transfer window is going to be one where we do not see anyone significant coming in. I'm not depressed by that, though. I think we have the players in the squad. It's amazing to me how quickly people have started to say that our players aren't very good. Form is temporary, class is permanent. We will see these players rise again. And I don't think the second half of our season is going to be worse than the first half of our season. I hope it will be better. Please let me know in the comments what you think about Zirkzee. If you think that we should sign him, how you're feeling about the transfer window. Thank you so much for your likes and comments. And if you haven't yet, please do subscribe. Until I see you again, be lucky and lots of love.